Hello, and welcome to this presentation providing an introduction to the Certified Public Accountant Credential. My name is Dr. Jake Brock. I serve as an Associate Professor of Accounting in the Edward L. Hutton School of Business at the University of the Cumberlands in Williamsburg, Kentucky. In addition to my role as a Professor of Accounting at UC, I also serve in professional roles as a member of the Board of Directors and the Finance Committee of the Board of Directors, a member of the Professional Ethics Committee, and a member of the Members in Education Committee for the Kentucky Society of Certified Public Accountants. In addition, I'm also a member of the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants. So what is a CPA? A CPA is one of the most widely recognized abbreviations, one of the most widely recognized credentials, which stands for Certified Public Accountant. The acronym in itself has tremendous value because of the recognition of not only what the credential is, but the expertise, the competence, and the capabilities that having a CPA license, that having the CPA designation stands for. In a variety of professional contexts, particularly in today's day and age where credentialing is something that is not only of tremendous importance, but also becomes increasingly demanded as individual professionals specialize to greater and greater degrees in their individual professional roles, one of the main advantages, one of the central benefits that CPA licensure provides is not only does it signify expertise, but it also does so with an abbreviation, with a credential that is widely recognized. Individuals walking up and down the street may not know exactly what you had to go through in order to become a CPA. Many of them will know about the rigor of the test, and we'll talk about that more in just a moment. But what they do know and what they do understand is that as a CPA, you are a financial expert. You are someone, if you hold the CPA designation, who has competency and understanding of financial and accounting matters, not just somebody who can file taxes, that's certainly recognized as well, but somebody who has financial competency and expertise. Beyond the brand recognition that being a CPA provides, the professional expertise, the professional recognition that affords, we also recognize that within the accounting and finance professions, this is the premier credential to be obtained. There are many certifications that provide tremendous amounts of value to individuals serving in various accounting and finance related roles, but the CPA is widely considered to be the black belt accounting credential and is often called exactly that, the black belt accounting credential within the accounting and finance professions. Some of the central benefits of becoming a certified public accountant, to name a few, include prestige, employability, and credibility. The reason that I specify here, this is to name a few, is because this is not an exhaustive list of the benefits that come with being a certified public accountant, but it does hit some of the highlights and some of the most important and the most notable benefits that you will find in achieving CPA licensure, beginning with prestige. The Certified Public Accountant credential is one of the most rigorous and accordingly one of the most respected credentials that can be obtained not just in the realm of accounting and finance, but across professions, that is, in any profession. The Uniform CPA examination is one of the most rigorous exams to be passed in a professional context and thus commands tremendous respect. You combine that with the work experience requirement and the educational requirements of becoming a CPA, and what comes out of that is a credential that not only has tremendous recognition in the sense of brand recognition, but also commands tremendous respect among a variety of professions and certainly within accounting and finance. In addition, a second major benefit of becoming a certified public accountant is that of employability. CPAs have enormous options, an enormous array of options when it comes to employment. While CPAs work in public accounting and thus are employed in a variety of roles for public accounting firms in different contexts and in different situations, CPAs are also in demand in the context of industry, in the context of academia, in nonprofit organizations, as well as in government. They work as auditors, they work as analysts, they work as accountants, controllers, managers, chief financial officers, and chief executive officers as well. The options for employability for CPAs are considerable. As I often tell my undergraduate students when they are first becoming accustomed to not only the Certified Public Accountant credential, but the opportunities that the accounting profession at large provides, there are accountants who sit in offices and who analyze statements from a computer or from a desk. There are also accountants who, in addition to that analytical responsibility, wear steel-toed boots and get to go march around factories and live out the reality of the television show, how it's made. There are also accountants who get to travel the world and get to meet with clients or with corporate executives and representatives of different industries and different organizations and engage in high-level negotiations to be at the top of the corporate game and to be engaged in those type of activities. And then there are also CPAs who wear badges, carry guns, and break down doors for a living in the context of what they do as agents for particular law enforcement agencies or even for the Internal Revenue Service itself. So the options for employability are considerable when it comes to the opportunities that CPA licensure can open. And then thirdly, there's also the benefit of credibility. One of the central advantages that comes with being a CPA is the fact that individuals recognize financial expertise. That's not just a general term to say you know something about finance. Rather, what that means is, as a certified public accountant, you're recognized as a financial expert. Even if they might disagree with your particular view or your particular interpretation of a matter in discussion, being a certified public accountant and holding CPA licensure commands prestige, it commands employability, and it commands credibility because of the competency, the attainment of knowledge and experience and expertise that CPA licensure represents. On a more personal level, CPA licensure also conveys the benefit of being something that is incredibly rigorous and also incredibly personally rewarding. The question here is, do you like a challenge? And that's a fair and an important question to be considered when you're looking at and thinking about embarking on pursuing CPA licensure. Becoming a CPA is a challenge. For most of us who have passed the exam, obtained the experience and the educational requirements, and earned a CPA license, it's recognized as one of the most difficult, if not the most difficult thing that you will do in the course of your professional career. Well, along with that, there certainly comes some element of fear, and oftentimes individuals are afraid and think, oh, I don't think I can do that. I don't think I want to do that. But here's the thing. The challenge that becoming a CPA represents is also part of what makes it so personally rewarding, not only in terms of rising to the challenge and overcoming the challenge by successfully earning the license, but also in gaining the benefits and the attributes that accrue from being a certified public accountant. So do you like a challenge? Do you want to take on a challenge? If you're the kind of person who enjoys rising to a challenge and overcoming a challenge, CPA licensure is something to be commended to you. That is, if you come from an accounting background and if you meet the requirements to pursue licensure. Finally, one of the most important and one of the most often emphasized benefits of becoming a CPA is the opportunity for increased income. Accountants who hold CPA licensure generally make 10 to 15% more, in some cases considerably more than that, with a CPA license compared to non-licensed counterparts. Oftentimes, these figures are substantially higher. This data comes from a NASBA study published in 2018. There are also more recent studies that can be examined that look at the earning power of CPA licensure, but what they all show is that obtaining and holding CPA licensure opens doors for considerable additional income. Not to mention, as I often also point out to students who are interested in pursuing CPA licensure, the fact that in addition to professional roles, in addition to professional opportunities in the organization you're already working for or other organizations who may be interested in hiring you, you have the option as a certified public accountant to hang a shingle on the door, as the saying goes, and to start your own professional practice. You can launch and begin your own accounting firm, your own accounting practice. And so one of the benefits that come with CPA licensure is not only increased income and promotion and earnings potential where you're at or in other organizations, but also the ability to begin a professional practice for yourself in your own name. Again, a major benefit, a major opportunity that comes with holding and obtaining a CPA license. So having established the many benefits that come with being a certified public accountant, the next question is, what does it take to become a CPA? How do you achieve that licensure? How do you get there? In understanding the requirements and the nature of the requirements, I want to begin by pointing out that CPA licenses constitute both a state-granted license to practice accountancy as well as a certification credential. There are many other credentials in the accounting and finance professions that hold considerable value, and they are certifications. For example, the CMA, or the Certified Management Accountant certification, is a credential that holds considerable value. The CGMA, the Chartered Global Management Accountant, the CFE, the Certified Fraud Examiner, CFA, Chartered Financial Analyst. There are many others we could look at as well, but what they share in common is that they are certifications. They are professional credentials issued by professional bodies to certify the obtaining of educational competency, experience, and usually the passing of some form of an exam to certify the acquisition of content knowledge. A certified public accountant credential reflects all of those same attributes in that it is a certification, but it also takes it an important step further by not only being a certification, but also a legal license to practice accountancy, which means that by law, specifically state laws for issuing jurisdictions, only those who have fulfilled state licensing requirements can call themselves a CPA and can practice in that state of jurisdiction as a certified public accountant. Because this is a legal license to practice accountancy, like a medical doctor has a license to practice medicine, or an attorney has a license to practice law, holding a license to practice accountancy requires that we meet state regulations and state laws that govern professional practice of accountancy, as well as the issuance of a license to practice accounting. Generally, the following three requirements must be met in order to become a certified public accountant. Number one, an individual candidate for CPA licensure must hold an awarded bachelor's degree meeting state board educational requirements and achieve a total of 150 hours of college credit. Number two, the individual candidate must pass all sections of the Uniform CPA examination. And thirdly, the candidate must obtain the necessary work experience. If these three requirements sound a little bit vague here, that's because they're deliberately stated according to vague lines. The specific nature of each requirement is governed under individual state law, and we'll talk more about that in the next couple of slides. But a couple of comments before we get into the details with regard to these requirements. First of all, when it comes to the educational requirement and the 150-hour rule, students often have questions about why 150 hours? Why do I have to obtain 150 hours when a normal bachelor's degree is 120 hours? Well, this has to do with the nature of high educational expectations and requirements for CPAs. The AICPA and other entities, NASBA, the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy as well, and those who helped shape the formulation of the Model Uniform Accountancy Act, looked at the matter of a master's degree. And in essence, what was agreed to was that while the profession wants to encourage accountants to pursue the equivalent of a master's degree or a master's degree level education, most individual states and many stakeholders in the profession appreciate and wanted to maintain the flexibility of being able to pursue CPA licensure with a bachelor's degree. The 150-hour rule is in essence a sort of compromise. If you take a typical master's degree, they often equate to something in the vicinity of 30 hours. Oftentimes, master's degrees exceed that. You'll find, for example, many MBA programs, particularly if it is a Master of Business Administration degree with an area of concentration, they are often 36 or 37 hours and sometimes more depending on the size of the concentration and the nature of the degree. That's fine, but a minimum master's degree is typically 30 credit hours. A bachelor's degree is typically 120 credit hours. If you add both of those requirements together, you of course get the 150 hours that has become the general rule or the general model that's required. In essence, this requirement encourages individual candidates to go for a master's degree, but for states that have adopted the 150-hour rule outright, they don't explicitly require a master's degree. The additional hours beyond the 120 typically required for a bachelor's degree can be earned earned at the undergraduate level. They can also be earned at the master's level. It just depends upon the administrative regulations and the laws of each particular state of jurisdiction. But that's where that rule comes from. The uniform CPA examination we'll talk more about in just a moment, and the necessary work experience once again depends upon the state law for the state you're being licensed under. For some states, they require 1 year or the equivalent of work experience in accounting. For other states, they require 2 years or some other amount of work experience. For some states, they allow the experience to be from any realm of accounting practice or accounting activity. In other states, they require that certain portions of the experience be earned in particular areas. For example, some states require a certain amount of hours to be earned in the area of auditing or in public accounting practice engaged in the performance of financial statement audits. Once again, just depends upon the particular state of jurisdiction, but in general, there's always going to be an educational requirement that is something akin to the 150-hour rule, passing of the uniform CPA examination, and obtaining the necessary work experience. So I want to plug here for just a moment from my own home state and the state under which I personally am licensed, and that is the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So as an example, I'm from Kentucky. How do I become a certified public accountant in this state? The Kentucky-specific CPA requirements, as an example, are the following. Kentucky requires the following in order to be licensed as a certified public accountant. Number 1, a bachelor's degree in accounting with 27 hours specifically in accounting and at least 12 hours of non-accounting business coursework. That is to say that a total of 39 hours of business coursework must have been completed as part of the bachelor's degree program, of which at least 27 of those business hours have to be specifically in accounting. If you're trying to determine where your hours fall and you're looking at your undergraduate transcript, what you would be encouraged to do is to look at the prefix. Often the prefix will designate the specific nature of the hours in question. So for example, at the University of the Cumberlands, where I teach at in a full-time role or on a full-time basis, we use BADM prefixes to denote business administration courses and BACC prefixes to denote accounting-specific courses. Using that as a model, if you're looking at your undergraduate degree, at least 27 credit hours must have a BACC prefix, while the remainder can be from other BADM courses or finance courses, marketing courses, other business coursework. The State Board of Accountancy, the Kentucky State Board of Accountancy, issues administrative regulations that specify what counts as appropriate business coursework in that broader category, but the rule here is that 27 hours must be in accounting and an additional 12 hours can be non-accounting general business. At least 39 total hours have to be earned in the realm of business courses. A bachelor's degree in accounting is required to set for the CPA exam, or the equivalent. Again, even if your undergraduate major is not specifically in accounting, as long as you have an awarded bachelor's degree with these particular hours, 27 hours in accounting and a total of 39 hours including those accounting courses in business, then you can sit as a candidate to take the CPA exam. The 150-hour rule for Kentucky, I want to specify, kicks in for licensure. What does that mean? What it means is you can sit for the exam with just a 120-hour bachelor's degree as long as you've met the accounting and business hour requirements. You don't have to have the full 150 to sit for the exam in Kentucky. However, before you can actually receive your license to practice, you must have attained or obtained the entire 150-hour requirement. Number 2, in Kentucky, you're required to pass all 4 parts of the uniform CPA examination. Currently, those 4 parts are FAR, Reg, BEC, and Audit, standing for FAR being Financial Accounting and Reporting, BEC being Business, Environment, and Concepts, Reg being Regulation and Taxation, and of course AUD or AUD being the Audit section. If you are familiar with the coming changes that will occur in January of 2024, you will know that we are still using a basic 4-section exam, but one of those sections is in essence going to go away, that being Business, Environment, and Concepts, or BEC, will cease to exist in the current BEC form and will be replaced with an emphasis area according to your choosing. The basic emphasis areas being offered are a deep dive into financial accounting and reporting, a deep dive into taxation, or a deep dive into information technology and related concepts. It will still be a 4-section exam, but the nature of that exam and the specifics are going to evolve as part of the new CPA Evolution Initiative. I would add here that a point of difference between Kentucky and some other states is that Kentucky does not require an additional ethics exam. Ethics are tested as part, or is a tested area, as part of the uniform CPA examination produced by the American Institute of CPAs. Kentucky accepts that as sufficient. There are some other states and licensing jurisdictions that require, in addition to passing the 4 sections of the uniform CPA examination, passage of an additional ethics exam. We'll talk about how you find those states, or if you're thinking of being licensed in such a state, where you would find those requirements in just a moment. Thirdly, in Kentucky, you are also required to achieve 1 year of work experience in accounting. That is defined in Kentucky as public practice, industry, academia, and or government. Your accounting experience can come from any of those areas, defined as not less than 2,000 hours of paid work experience in not less than a 12-month period of time. Why 2,000 hours? If you take that and spread that out over a 50-work-week year, assuming some time off for vacation and for other items, that basically comes out to the equivalent of a typical 40-hour work week over the course of a year. Again, some adjustments are made with regard to time off and vacation, those sorts of things, but that's where the 2,000-hour rule comes from. The reason that the 2,000-hour component here is important is if you are working part-time in accounting practice, you can still meet this experience requirement. You do not have to be employed in a full-time accounting role, though that's certainly beneficial and helpful in this case. If you are working part-time in order to gain your hours, that's fine, but you will be required to achieve a total of 2,000 hours of either part or full-time accounting experience in order to meet this requirement. One other point that I will emphasize here that students often have as a question is if I'm gaining some accounting hours while I'm in college. For example, if you're completing an internship and you're an undergraduate student, does that count? The rule for Kentucky is that those hours do not kick in until you have an awarded bachelor's degree. You have to reach candidate status, meaning you have an awarded bachelor's degree in accounting or the equivalent, and thus are eligible to sit for the exam before you will be able to take those hours as includable experience. While those internship hours or those part-time hours you may work during your undergraduate years, those are certainly valuable and certainly helpful. You can't actually count those toward the CPA licensure experience requirement until you have the awarded bachelor's degree in hand. Once that is possessed by the candidate, you've got the awarded bachelor's degree, then your hours from that point forward in accounting can count. Once all of these requirements are met, the Kentucky State Board of Accountancy will then grant a CPA license. You will receive the Certified Public Accountant Credential and the legal license to practice accounting as a CPA. You can find specific details related to these requirements, the actual state laws, the Kentucky Revised Statutes governing this area, as well as the KARs, or the Kentucky Administrative Regulations of the Kentucky State Board of Accountancy, on their webpage, which is provided at the link on the screen for you. The basic webpage for the Kentucky State Board of Accountancy is cpa.ky.gov. This particular link will take you specifically to the CPA licensure requirements. So now let's move on to our next question, which is, I'm not from Kentucky, and by implication you may be thinking you don't particularly want to be licensed under the Kentucky State Board of Accountancy. So what does it take to become a CPA in another state, or in some cases in another country? In the United States of America, CPA licenses are granted by individual states of jurisdiction, and those requirements are governed by the laws of each state. So if you want to be licensed in the state of Tennessee, you're required to comply with Tennessee state law. If you want to be licensed in the state of California, or in the state of Arizona, or the state of Illinois, you're required to comply with the laws of each of those individual states. Number one, in obtaining CPA licensure, and number two, in CPE and ongoing professional requirements after receiving your license to practice accounting. To find out the requirements for individual states and other countries that are considered licensing jurisdictions before the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy, or NASBA, you can review the requirements posted on the AICPA's This Way to CPA website, and the link is provided on the screen before you, thiswaytocpa.com/exam-licensure/state-requirements. This website is a fantastic resource if you are a student in any program, bachelor's, master's, or doctoral, thinking about and interested in pursuing CPA licensure. This is a database, in essence, that provides a summary of the laws and requirements for each individual licensing jurisdiction, for each state, and for the countries that are considered and recognized as licensing jurisdictions for additional countries as well. A really helpful resource that you can use to look up the licensure requirements in any of those licensing jurisdictions. So you may have a question, what does it look like? If you're the kind of person who enjoys seeing certificates and trying to imagine what that might look like hanging on your wall in your office or in your home or your professional context, to give you a little bit of an idea, this is my personal CPA license certificate, and you can see what it looks like for Kentucky. If you are licensed in the Commonwealth of Kentucky, this is what your CPA license will look like. In the Commonwealth of Kentucky, they are 11-inch by 14-inch certificates, very good size certificates. In Kentucky, I enjoy telling my students that we are very proud of our CPA licenses, and our certificates are sized accordingly. You can see again what it looks like in the image on the screen with both my name, hopefully someday that will be your name, printed on your license, with information establishing your right and license to practice accounting, your license number, which by the way is also public information found on the state board's website and database, the date of licensure, and individual members of the state board who sign your CPA license. Other states have different designs or different patterns when it comes to their particular license. This is just an example again with my own personal license through the Commonwealth of Kentucky. So, if you're thinking about becoming a CPA, you may be wondering what types of organizations are out there that can help me with the process. There are a variety of organizations out there that are available to help, but I'm going to list 4 here that are of particular interest. Number 1 is the AICPA. The AICPA is the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants, as well as its broader organization, the Association of International Certified Professional Accountants. The AICPA is the premier association not only for certified public accountants, but for professional accountants holding certification and credentials more broadly. The AICPA not only writes the Uniform CPA examination, but they also provide a variety of helps and resources for students and individuals who are interested in pursuing CPA licensure. In addition, there are individual state societies for CPAs. In the Commonwealth of Kentucky, where I live, reside, and teach, there is the Kentucky Society of Certified Public Accountants, or the KYCPA. The AICPA has partnerships with various state societies, Kentucky being one of them, that actually offer free membership both in the AICPA as well as in KYCPA for Kentucky for students who are studying in the state of Kentucky or certain other locations. If you're near or in a bordering neighboring state to Kentucky, you have the ability to join these organizations at no cost to you. It's a great way to build your professional resume as well as to network with professionals, to take advantage of a variety of resources that these organizations afford and provide to you as a student, and also to take advantage of their helps in preparing for licensure. There are a number of professional benefits as well as academic benefits that these organizations provide. Both the AICPA and the KYCPA, as well as IMA, which I'll get to in just a moment, provide scholarships for students who are pursuing degrees in accounting, especially undergraduate degrees. The AICPA has several programs that they provide for students from a variety of backgrounds, providing scholarship funds, as well as the Kentucky Society of CPAs, which has a very sizable scholarship program through its educational foundation. You can also join groups of other students. You can join committees and network with both other students, as well as practicing professionals in a variety of contexts. While some committees are closed, most committees, for example in KYCPA, AICPA are open to students to join and to become a member of, and it's a great way to connect and to build your network with regard to other practicing professionals. The IMA is the Institute of Management Accountants, the premier association for accountants who not only hold the CMA or the Certified Management Accountant credential, but also accountants more broadly who are working and practicing in the realm of managerial accounting, many of them working in industry as well as certain other contexts. IMA also provides scholarships for students and also provides a student membership opportunity to join as well. And then there is the AAA, or the American Accounting Association, which can best be thought of as the research wing of the profession. While academics in the form of professors like myself are usually members of the American Accounting Association, and much of the AAA is composed of academics serving in higher education institutions as well as other educational institutions, AAA is open to a broader array of individuals, many of whom are working in practice, in industry or public practice, who are interested in furthering accounting research. If you are interested, especially if you are a doctoral student interested in accounting research, I would strongly encourage you to consider and to check out membership in the American Accounting Association. Particularly if you are a doctoral student studying either in a DBA, a Doctor of Business Administration, or a PhD, a Doctor of Philosophy in Accounting, the terminal research degree, you have the opportunity to join the AAA for a massively discounted rate as long as you are in your doctoral program. That gets you access to the several I'll just say powerful journals that the American Accounting Association publishes. Their journals have considerable impact factors and considerable influence and impact not only in academia but in the profession at large, and have amassed quite a bit of influence over the years in terms of what those publications have contributed to our understanding of accounting, as well as particular problems and emergent issues that the profession is dealing with and confronting. So a lot of value, again, not just if you're a doctoral student, but especially if you're a doctoral student, to becoming a member of the American Accounting Association as well. Lastly, as we bring our presentation to a close, just want to provide a listing of some helpful resources and references by web page for you, beginning with the American Institute of Certified Public Accountants Become a CPA web page. You can access this very helpful web page providing an overview and resources for CPA licensure at www.aicpa.org/becomeacpa.html. In addition, there is the Kentucky Society of Certified Public Accountants Future CPA webpage. You can just go to the kycpa.org page and look for the Future CPA tab. The AICPA's This Way to CPA website, which I had previously mentioned, a comprehensive, in essence, one-stop shop for students interested in becoming a CPA, which includes state-specific information for all 50 states as well as other licensing jurisdictions, and a wide array of other helpful resources for individuals who are considering becoming a CPA. You can access this very helpful website at thiswaytocpa.com. Finally, the National Association of State Boards of Accountancy, or NASBA, provides a variety of resources for candidates for CPA licensure, and one particularly helpful page if you're considering CPA licensure but not ready to pull the trigger yet is their top 5 reasons to be a CPA page. You can find that at the link provided, as well as a host of other very helpful resources. With that concludes our presentation. I want to thank you for taking the time to watch and review this, and more importantly, for taking the time to think about Certified Public Accountant licensure and the CPA credential as a possibility for enhancing your career and your future potential as a practicing accounting and finance professional. I hope this presentation has been helpful and informative for you. With that, I want to thank you for watching and wish you a wonderful rest of your day.